Hello all. This video is about the reassembly of an early 90s chorus campy rear derailleur. I'm assuming pretty much everyone knows how to disassemble one. That's the easy part. It's just getting it back together again. So what you see here so far is, let's see, I've disassembled the whole thing down to a practical measure and soaked it in Dawn dish soap with warm water for about an hour or two, then pulled it out and did my best to clean each part, rinse, dry off, and then I sprayed each piece with rim oil, which is, or just could use any oil with Teflon, and then wiped off really well. And I've kind of organized the parts in a fashion how I want to get it back together. So I'll just start right in so you can see. By the way, this is one of the prototype versions of the rear derailleur here. So the first thing I'm going to start with is putting the bolt back in this hole. And it's a little tricky, especially if you don't take the pins out like I did. I kind of took a shortcut and just left those in there because I can still get it clean and leave these parts together, but it does make it trickier to get this bolt back in here with the threads out like this. So I grasp the derailleur like this and push this part against my chest, and you'll see that it will expose that hole like that. See the hole get exposed? Then I'll take the tweezers and drop this bolt right down through there. So this is the hardest part and the most frustrating part. It'll take you a little bit to get it right, but once this is done, the build goes pretty quickly after this. All right, so I struggled with that for a bit, but you see now that bolt's in here. I'm a big fan of grease. I add it to everything because I've dealt with too many pieces that have fused themselves together. So I add a little bit of grease. First washer that goes in, there's a smooth side and a rough side. Rough side goes down towards the derailleur. This. That's what's going to clamp your cable. And then here's the cap. Put a little bit of grease in there. All right. Now that we have this bolt installed, next part I'm going to start with is going to be the first part of the pulley cage. And I've already got this greased up. It's taken me several different takes to get this right because it is a little bit tricky and fumbly, but this is probably the next hardest piece of the puzzle. So what I'm going to look for first, longer of the two springs. Go down here, and you twist it until it seats. All right, there it goes. Okay, next. This goes on here, and you're going to seat the spring in this little hole. All right. Once that's like that, we're going to rotate it clockwise all the way back around through the stop and then push it all the way down. My hands are so slippery now. All right. And you can see I've got it seated all the way now. All right, I'll just kind of hold it in position. The one and only washer goes on here, followed by the smaller of the two C-clips. I use my tweezers to get this. And as always, look, these things always want to pop off, and they're going to aim right for your eye. So wear eye protection when you're doing this. Don't learn the hard way like me. All right, so that's the second hardest part out of the way. I'll take some paper towels and kind of clean up as I go. One thing I forgot to mention is that after I put a Teflon oil on all the parts, wiped them off really well. You can use a canister of air as well to kind of clean everything off. Then I use Flitz polishing cream, and I polish each piece to where they all look very nice. Okay, next step, you're going to find the main mounting bolt. Make sure it's greased. It goes straight in like this. Then we're going to take the short spring. Oh wait, skipping a step. This piece next. Just kind of greasing it up. It goes around the border there and just fits right in. All right, that's where we're at. Short spring. Same thing, we're going to twist it until it seats. However, if we're facing this way, counterclockwise increases tension. So I'm going to put the max tension on this spring. There's two holes down in there. I'm going to seat the spring in the left-hand hole if you're looking at it from this angle. I know it's right about right here. There we go. Okay, so it's seated down in there. Next, this part, and this part's going to twist like this. So I want max tension on this as well. It's just a personal preference. So if it's twisting like this, I'm going to put it on the right-hand hole here. You have to play around with this for just a bit until you get it seated right. There we go. All right, now this part, we'll twist around enough to pass that, and then we'll seat it, and then after we seat it, we're going to add the larger of the two C-clips. Notice I'm greasing everything as I go. Look, I've got my hands on a few of these and different parts as well that have just been completely frozen up from corrosion. And obviously I'm not planning on leaving any of my stuff out in the rain or exposed to the elements. However, I never have to worry about that again. All right. It's going to seat eventually like that, exposing the spot for the C-clamp. It's just difficult to do when you put sideways tension on it. There we go. All right, hold that down with my thumb. C-clip comes in there. Done. All right. Next, I'd like to finish the pulley section. If you haven't done these yet, I'm not sure if I mentioned this earlier, but all this is involved is a little cylinder that goes in here. I grease everything up just like I mentioned before, and the two caps go on the outside. They don't snap into place or anything, they're just kind of there. and then the cage will hold them into place. And I'll just kind of set this about where it needs to go. And the same as with the other one. All right. Okay, great. That's how it's going to go. Here are the 2 bolts. Notice that they've got an angle on there, and you can see where they'll fit right in. I just kind of hold those in with my finger. All right. Now look, these don't need to be tight. Just twist them until they get snug, and that's it. You're done. Okay. So I don't put much pressure on that at all. Just make sure they still spin freely. You can over tighten these and it'll make it so that there's too much tension on these little wheels. All right, so the bulk of all the work is done at this point. So all I'm doing now is installing my little adjustment screws. Now look, a lot of people put Loctite on these. I still just use grease, but I don't think that that's the safest method or the most efficient method, I guess, so to speak, because they can adjust over time. In the last 10 years I've been doing this, they haven't adjusted on me, so I don't worry about it. I just use grease. If you're looking at Campy upside down here, the small screw will go in the left side, and the longer screw with spring will go on the right hand side. And I know that y'all can figure this out pretty much from here, but all right. The last little screw goes in this way into this part right here. And once you get that in, you're finished. Then it's just a matter of adjusting your derailleur. I hope this has helped some of you out. I know that, sometimes these things can be a little bit confusing. I'm going to try and get a screenshot of a similar derailleur, not the same thing, and it's kind of an expanded parts view. And I'm going to post that at the end of the video, so you'll be able to see that and reference it, and hopefully that'll be able to help you out as well. Thanks for watching. I hope everybody has a wonderful day. See you soon.